So, number one framework or thing you can always do, you can always refer back to, in your podcast, it's always going to get listens, is reading the mail from your listeners. This is email, physical mail, or voicemail from your listeners. So get your listeners to call in, either download that recording and use it in your episode, or you just read it off and say their name if they like. And this is always something you can refer back to. I know I listen to shows actually that do this all the time. Every single episode, they have a new listener read. And that person who wrote it is going to share it, and they're going to be really happy you wrote it, as long as you don't piss them off and call them an idiot after you've read their question. And then B, it's always something new and fresh. The listener on the other side of this, think about this. You're the listener, and they say, oh, listener question of the week. Here we go. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's a bit of novelty. What's up, Steven? It's a bit of novelty that you can always refer back to. You can always use. There's no work on your end. So using listener mail, getting people to DM you, getting people to, send you a voicemail, an email, just to get to collect leads if you're trying to coach. And then B, it's novelty. People love novelty. It's one of our cognitive biases. We always will be intrigued and engaged by novelty. So you can use this in your email scripts. You can use this on your podcast titles, all kinds of stuff. It always works. Number 2 is case studies. So if I did a podcast called How I 10x my income in 7 days, here's how, or how I 10x my income in 7 days, everybody would listen to that. They'd want to know. So case studies on what you've done. Maybe if you're a fitness professional, how I dropped to 12% body fat in 7 days or 17 days or 30 days. How I lost 66 pounds in 45 days. Case studies on yourself, maybe what you're doing, what you're up to, different experiments you're running. If you look at, Tim Ferriss, he did this and his show blew up. What's up, Patrick? So Tim Ferriss did this. His whole blog blew up. He did this the whole time he was doing the 4-Hour Work Week, the 4-Hour Body, the 4-Hour Chef. If you look at all of those 3 books, they're big because they're case studies on what he's testing on himself. He was a human guinea pig. He crushed it. I love his blog, by the way. So case studies on how yourself is number 2. On how you can get very viral content that's always going to land with your audience. Granted, it's not hard. It's not easy to do this shit, but it works. And then the last way you can always create content that's going to engage and connect with people is listicles. So very simple, 7 ways to grow your podcast fast, or 7 ways to get 100,000 downloads in 10 days. These simple but very enticing, benefit-rich titles and hooks work. They flat out work. Whether you like them or not, they work. If you use them in your show, you will get more downloads. You will get more engagement. People will be curious as to what you're doing, and they will listen to your show. So, use them. I'm going to run through them again because we had some people jump on here a little late. Number 1, this is 3 things you can use, 3 frameworks you can use to always get more downloads, always grow your show. Number 1 is using listener voicemail or listener mail or emails. So reading off the questions you're getting in. It's novelty. People love that. People always go for that. Number 2 is using case studies, whether that's your own personal case studies or your own, or maybe clients or friends or whoever. You can use a case study. I would title it like how Johnny, reduced his insurance bill by 79% in 12 days. Something similar like that. What's up, Mike? And number 3, before I get off here, I gotta go to a meeting, is listicles. So listicle content always works. 12 ways to grow your podcast to 100,000 downloads in 30 days will always work. So listicles, case studies, and reading your voicemail, reading your mail from your audience, always going to work. Those are 3 frameworks you can always use to get more downloads, to get more engagement, to get more subscribers.